So it's just a matter of time. Hola a todos y bienvenidos de nuevo a mi canal. Welcome back to my channel. It's so good to have you guys back here. If you're new to this channel, welcome to the family. Welcome to this growth space. Do feel free to subscribe, like, share, and I'll get right into this video. So today's video, just as a channel, is going to be a self-love video. And it was inspired by society nowadays, because I feel like we're told to put our worth in literally almost everything but ourselves, where we're like we're basing our worth off of what we wear, how we look, just so many external factors that we forget about the main person, which is us. Like, we're trying to please A to Z, but we forget about us, and we're trying to love our friends, our family, but what about us? Do you get what I mean? Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's why today I decided, you know what, since this is since I'm doing this whole self-love, wellness and motivation series anyway, I just decided, you know what, this is a mandatory video. This is a video that just needs to be done. And obviously, like, people have different definitions of what self-love is to them, and I'm going to put some up somewhere here and here as I talk, just so you guys can see it. Personally, to me, self-love is accepting myself fully as I am, imperfections and all, in the current state, whether I am where I want it to be at this stage or I still have loads of work to do on myself. I accept myself fully. I also do treat myself with kindness and respect. To me, love is more of a verb than it is a noun. So I think that love without action is almost impossible. You can't say that you love someone or that you love and then there's no action behind it. So kindness and respect, and I also nurture my growth and my well-being. That said, I'm gonna get right into the importances of why you need to love yourself. Number one, it allows us to be assertive. You ever met these people that are like, say one thing one day and then the next day it's different, and they're just so easily swayed? And it's like, if you don't stand for something, you can fall for anything. And really and truly, I think the foundation of us being assertive is in self-love, that you're so confident in yourself and you love yourself so much that, you know what, when you make up your mind, you stand by something. You stand by you being you and why you are you, you know. And I think that's something that in this society we it's kind of like washed down and it's blurry, just being ourselves, because who are you really when everything else is stripped away? When you stop following trends, when you stop doing what you think society expects of you, who are you as a person? Do you get what I mean? And I think, like, the core of really you being assertive, you being you, is loving you. And my next point and my second point is that it allows us to set boundaries. Right, self-love allows us to set boundaries, which I think is very important in all kinds of relationships, because I don't think healthy relationships can exist, keyword, healthy relationships, without boundaries. You know, you saying that this is the standard, that this is what you stand for, this is the standard, and this is what you like, this is what you don't like, this is what you will accept, this is totally unacceptable. Those are boundaries that you're setting for how you want your relationships to be, or how you want them to run. Number three, practicing self-care. I think self-care is like a huge part of self-love. And self-care doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go for the most expensive facials, go for a massage once a week, such things. It can be like the little things, like running yourself a bath, you know, keeping yourself, making sure that you're learning things on a consistent basis, basically, you know, just taking care of yourself, and other things that I'm gonna get to in the latter points. Number four, to be confident. I don't think you can really be fully confident in you unless you love you. Doesn't make sense. Unless you love yourself, I hope you get what you're saying. Unless you really love you can't truly be confident in who you are, because you're always questioning yourself. You're always having doubts in your mind. Or should I really do this? Is this right? Am I good enough? Yes, you are. You're good enough. You're worthy. You're deserving. You're all these things. You just need to see it. You just need to love yourself a bit more. And one thing that I really want to say is that self-love sometimes is a journey. For me personally, it has been a journey. I didn't just wake up one day and I just loved the person that I saw in the mirror. No, it's the thoughts, it's the constant thoughts it's my thoughts that I had to control about myself, how I think about myself. There's so many different factors that I had to consciously practice for me to be able to completely love myself, you know. That being said, let's move on to the next point, which is driving to pursue your goals and your interests. The drive that you have to pursue goals and interests, because unless you love yourself, you don't really have that drive that is needed to want better for yourself. Because I think only a person that does love themselves wants to see themselves do good and do better, for that matter, you know, want to see themselves succeed and do good and really prosper in life. Yeah, next point. I'm just gonna try to keep this like really short, really straight to the point, give you the points, give you the food that you need. Next is avoid people pleasing, perfectionism. I think perfectionism stems from fear of judgment, from fear of failure, and that's something that you need to grow out of, because without those things, I don't think you can fully grow into the person that you're meant to be without failing, for instance. Because if you don't make mistakes you can't learn from. You don't have mistakes to learn from, and therefore you're going to grow. You're going to stay in that comfort zone where you're like, okay, I like this right here, this little bubble, it's my happy bubble, but growth happens outside of the bubble. Without going too much into it, because this is only part one of the video, I want to go to the next point, which is low mistreatment tolerance, basically. I think that people that really let other people constantly walk over them don't really love themselves that much. Do you get what I mean? Because obviously you need to be wise and choose your battles carefully, because if you go, somebody once said, if you go throwing stones at every dog that barks at you, you're not going to get to your goal. Sometimes it really doesn't matter what people say, you're just going to have to just shut your ears to the naysayers. But at the same time, especially when it comes to your relationships, whether it's with friends, whether it's with your loved one, it's with your parents, doesn't matter. Although like with your parents it's a bit of a tricky one, you know, but I'd say like the relationships that you've chosen in your life, that are the ones that you can control. I think you have a very, very low level of mistreatment and tolerance if you really love yourself, because going back to my point on boundaries, you will have set boundaries for yourself that will have led to people knowing, or people around you knowing, that you know what, this is okay, this is not okay. But I'm not saying that everybody's going to respect those boundaries. Some people are going to try to step over. Some people are going to try to test the waters. Yes, there are such people. I'm just going to say this. You're not responsible for other people's actions. However, you are responsible for what you tolerate. Okay? So other people are going to do their things, but how you react is what you're responsible for. Are you going to let them walk all over you, or are you going to check them and say, you know what, sit them down or whatever, and tell them this is not okay? Even if you have to walk away from a situation, that's perfectly fine. You know what, when people don't appreciate you, when people this and that and the other, and they want to mistreat you, undervalue you, you name it, that's not okay. And it's okay to walk away from that. Walk into our next point. No, moving on to the next point, you need to consider your own needs and feelings. If you love you, then you listen to how you're feeling, not just emotionally, but you also listen to your body, how you're feeling. And I think like a lot of people love to ignore their feelings and just bottle them up until one day they'll just spew over, and it's not a nice sight, you know, when feelings and emotions come out like that, because usually they'll come out in an explosive manner, and it might just, if you haven't dealt with something or if you're hurting, you're most likely, if you're dealing with other people, to hurt them too. Does that make sense? Like hurt people. Yeah, just be very mindful of your own needs, because if you're constantly giving away things that you don't have, you're going to be left without. And this applies to literally everything, to your own energy, to your what's it called, brain freeze. Just cut this part out. And this applies to literally anything, to your energy, to your feelings, to whatever you give out, whether it's finances, you name it. And last but not least, avoiding self-sabotage and making decisions that are not in your own best interest. When you're making certain decisions, are you thinking, how is this gonna affect me? Usually when I make decisions, this is what I do. I think, how am I gonna feel about this decision 2 days from now? How am I gonna feel about this decision 2 weeks from now? How am I gonna feel about this decision 2 years from now? How am I gonna feel about it 20 years from now? Although you don't really know the answer to that in 20 years, you can do that check and just see, you know what? Usually things that are nice in the moment are not the best in the long run. So I want to live a life where I don't feel like I'm neglecting myself, but I'm also consciously thinking about the future, right? And I feel like a lot of people are so quick to get to success, are so quick to do this, and then things that maybe they've done in the past, choices are catching up with them, and it's just, it kind of leads to self-sabotage where they're set back a bit and now they have to think about it. So I'd rather you think about it in the moment than later, right? And there's so many different forms of self-sabotage, but whenever you do make decisions, make sure that they're coming out of a place of self-love. If you do have to take time to make decisions, do that. You know what, don't make rash decisions, don't make hasty decisions, and definitely don't make decisions when you're angry, right? Okay, I think I've covered it all so far. I really do hope that this video has helped you. If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Hasta luego! Bye!